Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Your Impact Attack. Yes, it is Your Impact Attack, and we are on channelattitude.com. And I am one third of the VBC. Colin Whitesong here. You know, what it do? We here to give you another Impact Attack, reviewing Impact Wrestling. You know, I am not alone, as always, because that would be a terrible show if I was here by myself. Because I usually don't watch the show, so I would be forced to watch the show and then give you my honest opinions on these things, and I don't want to do that. I want to give you my entertaining opinions on these things. But let me just gather myself here, because the man that we are in the presence of today, he is the. I mean, is there really an amount of times that you could be the champion of this? But he is the champion of leaving your dirty underwear on the counter in the kitchen, ladies and gentlemen. The vet. That's not true. That's not true. He's not the champion. He lost all of those matches to me. I am that champion.
Yeah, I was happy to do the honors, whatever that means. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you doing?
Great. I'm hot. I think.
Oh God, yes.
One time, I heard you do the show by yourself. This is before I started. I started with HMG, but I was listening to the guys that I was supposedly going to be working with to get a sense of, okay. And then this was a time when there was no Big Ray, no Billy Ray, nobody was there. And it was just you doing a show by yourself. And I was like, not bad for doing it by yourself. But I'm here to make the honest opinions entertaining.
Yes.
See, that's why I give them both. So.
I give you the entertaining, honest opinions.
But we're not the only ones.
We're not the only ones. We're not. We are joined each and every week by our third man, woman in the booth. He's not invisible anymore, ladies and gentlemen.
What up? Power bottom in the house.
So you follow that diet from, I think it was Grubhub or Postmates. I think it was Postmates, yeah. Following your power bottom diet. Lots of fiber. Soft foods, apples, pears, things like that.
Although I like to throw in a little extra protein in there. Keeps the boyfriend.
I bet you do. Being a power bottom, you got to make sure you get your extra protein in there.
Canada Spaceman is demanding Raw spoilers. Look, what makes you think we watched it?
I've got a Raw spoiler.
Actually,
I've got a SmackDown spoiler for you.
Okay.
Let me find it.
What, for this upcoming Friday?
Yes, I broke news that William Alessia didn't even break. Hang on 1 second. I will find it for you.
Well,
you guys, dead air. As you guys talk.
As he's finding,
Austin is in the chat.
Yeah. As he's finding the SmackDown spoiler, Liz is providing a spoiler. It was meh. That's not a spoiler. That is a prediction. That is a fact.
That's just a foregone conclusion.
Right. It's not a question of if it's meh. Meh's an upgrade.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Just want to let you guys know, I have it on good authority that Vince McMahon, come SmackDown, will do the motherfucking stanky leg Friday night. He's gonna come out. He's gonna do the stanky leg. It's like, you see it right there on good YCFY cast. Good authority.
I don't see Vince come out and do the Macarena. That's the hot thing. It's all the kids today, right, pal?
All the pepper bellies are doing it. That's what he's gonna say.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to drop a pepper bellies on air.
He literally
might at this point.
There's rumors that he went backstage after his first appearance when the Wall Street Journal article came out, when he came out and did the weird thing, that he went back there and was like, "Fuck him!" Like there's reports of this, and it's not just Vince. It was not Ben Hameen pretending to be Vince McMahon saying that. No, that was Vince McMahon going back there and being like, "Well, fuck him."
Are we sure that the Wall Street Journal isn't just fans of Master Shoot Theater?
They probably are. Did you hear the
This-
terrible Master Shoot theater that Meltzer and Brian Alvarez are trying to do?
Of course not.
It is terrible. They just read transcripts and things, didn't change voices, they just, hey, we're going to do Master Shoot Theater and just be ourselves. And then Vince McMahon said this. And Linda said this. That was Meltzer.
They played it on Cash Rate and the Marks. It was bad. It was really bad.
Was it bad? Well, what do you expect? I would expect better from Alvarez. He seems like he could do
Character work.
He's got a sense of humor at least.
Yeah.
Not in this.
No, this was bad.
Not in this.
Well, he probably didn't want to do it, so he didn't try to get it over. That's probably what happened to Alvarez.
He
I'm
probably
almost
thought
positive.
he probably thought this is fucking stupid.
Right. It would be like, you tell Terry Taylor he's going to be the Red Rooster, and he's like, all right, I'm not getting this over. That kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about before we acknowledge the chat? Nothing.
I don't think so. No.
Impact Knockouts Women's Champion Jordan Grace walking back her comments.
Whoa.
Chris Benoit.
Apologize, dive, repeats.
Oh, so
Apologize,
do
dive,
you
repeat.
want to just talk about that at the top, huh?
Yeah, we'll just do
Let's
that. Yeah.
Let's do it. Well, tell everybody what she said in case.
Well,
they
I will
didn't see
pull it up. Let me see if I can find it.
And of course,
I might
this
have
was.
deleted it, but
Well, somebody definitely screenshotted this in one of their reports. Like anybody that reported on this has it, so we don't need to go to Twitter to find it. But
yeah.
yeah. So essentially, Jordan Grace made a tweet, and I don't know what was going through her mind, but apparently she had to say something about something. Now, was this something that she was commenting on that was like already an ongoing thing? Because
No, I think she just came out and said it.
Yeah, which is weird. Like, what prompted? Is this an anniversary of something? Like,
I think it's just one of those things where she may have been having a conversation with somebody about it. So it's like, oh, I'm going to go out and say this now because I'm Jordan Grace and I've got to say all these other things and I've gotten away with it before. So nobody will be mad at me for saying this. Everybody hates Chris Benoit. Not thinking that, like, he's still got a son that's alive. He's still got family that's alive. You're still disrespecting a person. Like I see a lot of what Chris Benoit did, like Michael Jackson, right? Like, yeah, he may or may not have touched those kids. Yeah, we know Chris Benoit did kill his whole family and all that type of shit, right? But the man is different from what I saw on my TV wrestling each and every week. That gave me joy to watch that man win the title and do those things that he did in WCW and in WWE. It's just like Michael Jackson's music. Like, you can't. Billie Jean, Thriller, like all these songs that man like wrote and made, the musician, the talent that he was. Yeah, he may have played with little kids. Like, I don't care about that. I just care about his music. I don't care. I just want to hear the music. So it's
without saying it as badly as you did, what you're saying is you can compartmentalize the art from the person, is what you're saying.
So let me
That's
find out
tried
what
to
she
say.
said. She basically said that this is going to be the coldest take I ever tweet on this app, which means it's not. I already know y'all going to be mad, which we are. I don't think Benoit could 100% hang with most of the present-day wrestlers. He would not be able to remember matches. Also, may he burn in hell. Amen. You don't need to remember matches. Matches can be improvised. So Benoit probably doesn't need to know a match. And if he does, Vet, he probably has a certain type of match that he does. Like, there's a formulaic thing that he does in his matches if he scripted them out. So, and she's a wrestler. She should know these things. Like, why is she coming out here saying this shit? Like, oh, he wouldn't be able to remember the match. Fuck out of here.
Well, there was something about Kurt Angle too, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, somebody, I think she was talking shit about Kurt Angle too. But this is
Right.
what.
Which
wrestlers
somebody,
think
I
is
can't
my-
remember who I was listening to, but somebody said that it sounded like they wanted to just diss Kurt Angle, but they didn't want to just diss Kurt Angle because he's still around. So she threw in somebody that everybody would hate just on top of it. But
Now, if she would have said that today's wrestlers couldn't hang with Benoit, I'd have given her some points for that one.
oh yeah, that's
They really can't though. That's the.
Oh no, nobody can hang with Benoit. Well, you can, one time.
You can win that one time.
oh jeez.
You could have.
Oh god.
That's like.
All right. Good night, everybody.
He came in hot, ladies and gentlemen. He is now cooled off and going to bed.
You know what? The most offensive part of this tweet to me, you would never guess, but it is. I just
Her
don't you
husband's
just
head barely is over the ropes at AEW.
no. Am I the only one that's just like when a white girl has to say things like coldest take and y'all when like when you're writing out a text or in print? Like does that is
You already know it's
I mean,
a bad idea.
I can say this because my boyfriend's
Very bad
black.
idea.
It's one of those. It's very much that sort of vibe.
My boyfriend's Jonathan Gresham.
Right. Even if you talk like you could talk that way in real life if you want.
Terminus.
I don't. I guess I'm not getting invited
Better
to her.
shape up. You better shape up, vet.
Yeah.
My sassy Jordan Grace is going to come out.
Yeah. That's the most annoying part of it to me. I mean, the other stuff she said is like, I mean, how can I even dignify that with a response? But just the part about this is going to be the coldest take. I put y'all already going to hate.
No, you just made the list.
Stop.
You're
Stop
not
it.
going to terminate.
Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. Labrat says, who's taller, Marco Stunt or Jonathan Gresham? Well, it's Jonathan Gresham, but man, it's close.
It's terrible. Well, before we dive in. Oh,
wait.
Okay.
Brandon,
Not
you spent time around Jordan Grace. Has she always been this insufferable, or did something happen?
She can be. She's had that about her sometimes.
And does
She
she say
looks
things
like
like y'all in the presence of other people?
Not that I can remember.
So it's one of those cases where you're using the text to talk in a way that you never do, which is even worse. Well, anyway, if you guys have any...
Well, she is from Texas, so I'm sure y'all would be in her.
Yeah, but this doesn't sound like a Texas y'all. This sounds like an urban
This
y'all.
gonna be the coldest take, y'all.
The cold. What do you mean coldest? Like that? It's, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't even. You're not even using it right.
That when
It's like
keeping
someone
it
just
real-
taught you coldest.
When keeping it real goes wrong. That's what happened here. She tried. She tried, and failed.
And failed. And you said she was walking it back, right?
Yeah, she walked it back. So now, Miss Jordan Grace has apologized. Let's see. Last week, I made an irresponsible and unnecessary tweet. Regardless of how many personal emotions influence my opinion, I should have recognized the impact my words would have on friends and family close to the situation. I was completely thoughtless in that regard. Since reflecting this past week, I have reached out privately to friends and family that are angered and hurt. Among those were David Benoit, Chavo Guerrero, and Chris Jericho, who are supporting me in the decision to partner and fundraise with the Concussion Legacy Foundation, formerly Sports Legacy Institute. I have pledged $5,000, with the overall campaign goal being $20,000. I'm acutely aware that the damage has been done. I would never intentionally add on to the suffering of those already dealing with such a traumatic event, and I am sorry for my insensitivity and aggravating this already delicate topic. This is my way of attempting to squeeze something positive out of the negative situation I created. Thank you in advance to everyone who donates. Patricia, also may he burn in hell. Amen. She didn't say that. I added that.
Okay. I see.
But she totally tried to walk it back. And in that tweet, she made sure to put the picture of like her and David Benoit like on the phone with them, like talking it out. And like they're totally on like Facebook Live where there's like people chatting. Like it's totally just a PR stunt now to turn face. But don't make fun of her and don't objectify her. when she dresses scantily clad. And all
Well,
that
look,
type.
if you got anything that you want to say to Jordan Grace, you can tweet her at JeffLane22. Just direct all of your hate, love, whatever you have. Colin, it's been brought to my attention. Of course, I noticed it anyway, but I didn't care. But now the fans are starting to care. This seems to be the Ridiculously Random podcast backdrop, and we don't want to have
ridiculously random.
We don't want
This is
to.
Vince McMahon's office.
We
Ray did.
We don't
this
want to
for
have
next
me
episode.
associated with anything ridiculously random. So could we get the Impact Attack
I see
background
what you're
and
talking about. Yes,
and perhaps a moose?
I
A
do
moose
see
and
what you're
bin?
talking
Okay.
about there.
There we go.
I apologize. I did not mean to have you on impromptu episode.
Right.
Ray, go away. You can't come on stage now.
How ridiculously random.
Yeah, how ridiculously random. Actually,
They were going to use that as proof that I was on the show. You realize that, right?
no, Brandon's gonna rip off his mask and he's gonna have been Big Ray this whole entire time. He's been filming in his son's room.
Yes. Yeah, or a hospital bed.
Or
Hopefully.
don't make fun of his pillows.
What?
That's terrible.
Oh, all right. I'm just, we had a brief scare with Big Ray. He's fine, right? He's fine.
Yeah, I will edit this on tomorrow's show. You know what? There's usually a fourth man in the booth. And I think it's
No, there
time.
isn't.
Yes, there is. There is, Vet. You know damn well. And sometimes it's a fourth woman in the booth. And it's time that they get acknowledged.
You there, sitting at home, acknowledge me.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the part of the show where Brandon acknowledges the chat. Brandon, take it away.
All right. Let's see. Lots of awesome people tonight. We got Canada Spaceman. I always count on him and from flying in from Canada out in space. Come hang out with us, Buckshot Kid. He's always hanging out with us in our Twitches, chilling. Always good, loyal follower and good friend. Lizbeth, what can we say about her that hasn't been said? That she's awesome. She's amazing. Lab Rat, we don't know what kind of experiments he's getting experimented on, but he's taking time off to get those paychecks to come hang out with us. So we always appreciate you. Well, Sir Jam 34, awesome. Thank you for stopping in. Much love to you. Appreciate you.
The man that's 6'8" and want to talk about how short everyone is. We love
Alexa
Sir Jam.
and Piers Austin, always great friends. Always great seeing y'all.
Well, you got to say it right. You're gonna say Pierce
Y'all.
Austin. You gotta say it right. It's P.S. Austin. Yes. Now you did forget someone, Brandon,
What?
and it wouldn't be right if I didn't say this gentleman's name with a mouthful of al pastor, carne al pastor. Javi Uchia. You see, the pastor kind of gave it a little extra Hispanic, like Spanish flair on my voice when I said it.
Right. Yeah, Javi just wanted. He's the casualty of not appearing in the Google list. We always talk about that on the NXT.
Sonic the Hedge-Rat is also here. What's up, Sonic?
Yo, Sonic.
Yeah. So we gotta blame
Pierce.
the algorithms for these people.
Pierce says, "Good day, legends," and Colin.
Implying that you're not a legend.
Yet.
We're working on it. So, after that awkward silence, do we have anything else that we want to?
Awkward. You made it awkward.
No? Should we just?
Yeah, we should just stop meowing at me. Let's just start the show.
Let's just jump right in. All right. So speaking of pussies, after our recap, we get Alan Angels, and he's making his Impact debut against Mike Bailey. And this is for the title, I think.
But
Like,
Yep.
because I watched this, like
Right.
not when I normally watch it, right? When I like panic started watching it tonight, and when Alan Angels came on, I'm like, oh, what the fuck? They're starting with them 2 weeks in a row. And then I'm like, they said his debut, and I'm like, oh wait, I did watch this.
You did watch
Ah, fuck yeah.
Now, Colin, you had some
Oh.
things to say about this.
I did have some things to say about
you.
this.
You couldn't even wait. I was at work, and you're trying to tell me about this. What do you?
I didn't. I thought you had seen it already. You're just the master of wrestling.
I don't.
Bet.
I barely saw this morning.
You didn't want to see this because this is a guy that came over from AEW from a hot act, some might say, the Dark Order. They're super over, right? They used to be. They were kind of a
they're
hot gimmick
over,
there
all
for a
right.
while. They're over now because of all these things that have happened. But this gentleman left. He comes to Impact Wrestling, Mr. Alan Angels. He gets a title shot, his first night. His first night against Speedball, Mike Bailey. And he proceeds to lose his debut in a championship match where Mr. Speedball kicks out of his finisher. So now you just come over, you get buried in your first match, and your finisher gets buried in the first match that you're here. So instead of the Masha squashes that we've been getting from Mr. Alan Angels, we get, let's put Mr. Speedball Bailey over, a new guy here. So he just starts right at the bottom. We're Madman Fulton and this guy from the beginning. This Jake something all over again with Alan Angels here. Double A, you're out of here. You're no Austin Aries or Arn Anderson or Arl Anderson. That was Carl without the K.
I see. Arl Anderson. Well, first of all, can you have a finisher if you never beat anybody? I just want to throw that out there.
He's got a win-loss record in AEW. Win-losses don't matter. Win-losses don't matter.
Food for thought. Well, what do you think, Brandon?
Oh man. So let's see. I think Bailey needs to get a new finisher before he blows his knees out when he misses it.
How about he blow their back out when he lands it?
That too.
My God.
That's gonna hurt
Jeez.
somebody someday.
I'm sure it already has hurt people.
And I think I counted a total of 8 pin attempts the entire match, with 6 of them coming in like the last minute and a half.
And what does that say to you?
They're not trying to make it look like they're trying to win the match. It looks like just they're doing a choreographed routine and maybe throwing some pinfalls in there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess. The thing,
Now, Vet, what was I really more incensed about? That it was his debut and he's getting like
Yeah,
thrown under the bus?
well, well, I was under the impression that this was like some kind of a big deal, but you were asking me, the way you brought it up was, have you ever seen anybody get completely buried in their debut? And I was like, all the time. You know, what are you talking about? And then when you said Alan Angels, I was like, oh my, who cares? This is exactly the kind of person you bring in to do this.
Yeah, but see, this is where they, like a lot of the dirt sheets and stuff, they made a big stink about him, like, and the AEW stuff, right? So you've got his name out there in the news. You got his name out there among the IWC, right? Well, no, hear me out. So these dirt sheets, right? They work for these promotions now. They're just as bad as an ESPN. They promote these people, right? They're trying to create these narratives and these stories to try to drum up news so they can get people to talk about it, right? Gives us something to talk about here on the show. And they pump this guy up, and then like you're like, oh yeah, what if you're like some dude who's like really excited to follow Alan Angel's career because you really liked him in AEW, and then you come over to Impact and it's his first night, and you're just like, wow, look at what they did to him in that match. Terrible.
Alan Angels hadn't been on television in like a year, first of all. The only reason anybody has even heard of this guy is because Kenny Omega was stupid enough to pull time with him during pandemic era wrestling. And the reason that you heard about him in the dirt sheets is because everybody's like, why is he going 15 minutes with Alan Angels? That's where you heard of him from. He's the guy that Kenny Omega took too long to fucking beat when he was the champion of AEW. That's what you know Alan Angels from.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious, though.
Well, that's the only reason anybody knows his name. That's the reason you know his name, whether you know that's the reason or not. fucking this, it's great if he can find work. This is one of those cases where I say I've got two different messages to send out here. To Alan Angels, I say, hey brother, keep doing it, keep getting the money, keep pushing, just do everything you can. To the companies, I say, what the fuck are you doing? How many bald white guys do we need in fucking wrestling right now with beards? We got fucking tattoos. Yes, and terrible tattoos. This guy could be any guy. He doesn't even look that different from the other guy in the Super Smash Brother guy that's not Evil Uno. Yeah, Dick Tracy. Stu Grayson. Dick Tracy. Dick Grayson. Whatever the guy that's not Evil Uno is. That guy is what the hell is the difference between him and Alan Angels? What's the difference between Alan Angels and fucking tall tan Oni Lorcan? You know what I mean? Like, we got Mike Bennett right here. He's got a hat though and a wife, so he's already way more over. You know what I mean?
What's the difference between not tan Oni Lorcan?
Yeah,
Oni Lorcan, but he's got a hat.
Yeah, he's got a new hat. Malibu Tony, Malibu Oni Lorcan. So, bro, his tights. This guy's tights say underrated. All right, brother. No one rates you at all. You can't be underrated if nobody gives a fuck about you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're perfectly rated, as Chad would say.
Yeah, that's it. So
where were you on the PWI, bro?
Oh, he was up there. He shot up to 250 after that match with Kenny. Trust me. So I feel like, yeah, this wasn't really a burial. This just a guy they brought in to get Mike Bailey a win, and then he can go from there. Like Lab Rat said, hey, they shook hands at the end, so he got over. Yeah, sure. And then the by Design jumps in, beats them both down.
That was the other thing. That was what made it worse, because I forgot about the beatdown. That was the icing on the cake right there, the cherry on top, right? The fucking, hey, it's your debut. Now you're about to get jumped.
Yeah, well, the champ got jumped too, so they both fucked off after getting their ass kicked, and they both look bad. So, you know what I mean? That it's very important that we do that to get Violent by Design over, because they're gonna really start making waves in the wrestling business. Anyway. Eric Young appears. We haven't seen him in a while, and that's the cliffhanger as we go to break. After the break, we come right back to it. Take notes, WWE. Diener has to talk Eric Young out of purging them because he's not happy with the way things have been since he was gone, which that's a interesting heel tactic of like, well, I'm just going to disappear, but when the guys try to, carry the banner, I don't like how they did it, So
wait. So we're gonna have two. I'm tired of this. You being in this group, we're gonna cut you angles now.
Yep.
With PCO and Vinny and Honor No More, and now VBD's about to break up.
Isn't it funny how Honor No More has the exact same angle as somebody else going on at the same time, all the time? Like, are they just anyway? So yeah. So what'd you guys think of this this promo, this intrigue? Is Diener, and what's going to happen if Diener and Doran get purged? Then what's Eric Young's excuse going to be? Right? Like, what do you guys think?
He'll find new lackeys, like Alan Angels.
Yes, because Alan Angels.
I did like that. Eric Young's putting like consequences for their failures. Like you don't see that enough of like when they have these faction cult gimmicks. Like that's usually what you see in cults when there's failure, there's consequences. Like you like every time anytime Ravens had a flock, he's always disciplined them every time they've lost a match. But one thing I noticed about the promo was like when they talked about going after the belt, it seemed like he was about to say it was supposed to be mine, but then he stopped himself and said, well, look where that got you. Look where your plan got you. He basically pointed out, well, look what you did without me.
Yes. And Colin, anything to add to that? Would you like to see a rift Violent by Design?
Not really.
Before you answer, I also like the aspect too, Brandon, of how like You notice the leader, whenever they fail, they never get any repercussions, right? Like that's what makes it more. That's what gets them more heat when they blame everybody else for their things. It's like a
Oh,
subconscious thing, but
look at 2008. What banker that ruined our economy in 2008 went down? Besides the one guy from Credit Suisse, he went to jail. But all the other people involved, they got bonuses paid for by you, the American taxpayer. So basically, Eric Young's going to become champion or something. He's going to take over Impact or whatever after he gets rid of Doring and Diener. It's because it's a rocket up the ass. Let me cut this dead weight. Especially like Joe Doring. That's a heavy dead weight to be carrying. He's a big guy. Even though he's great. I love Joe Doring.
Okay.
He's scary.
Yeah, very scary. All right, so we get an Honor No More. Speaking of Honor No More, they get a backstage promo, you know, doing the thing where everybody's talking and stuff. The lights in this scene, okay, were pink and blue. And it's not time yet, Colin, relax. The lights were pink and blue, and the blue light was directed like right at the camera, but it usually had like Kenny King or somebody standing in front of it. But when they moved, it caused like a lens flare. So I'm taking that as a personal shot at me. Like, not only are we going to light this up and make it look stupid, but we're going to shoot it right in your face. So I think this is war, basically, is what the message I get from the lens flare from the blue light.
Yeah, and the vet doesn't like stuff shot in his face.
Not at all. Anyway, the point of their promo, if anyone cares, was that they questioned PCO's loyalty again. That's less important than the lighting, but that's what they were talking about. So, any thoughts on this rehash of we got the exact same two storylines going on back to back here?
That's my only note. Didn't we just see this exact angle last segment?
Yes.
Man, what are they gonna do? Like, so when they get rid of,
in fairness, they did it first though. I don't know, more did it first. They've been questioning PCO for a while now.
Wait, well, what are they gonna do when they like break up all these guys? Like, I hate to say this, but much like how our global economy has hit this inflation point, I think almost all wrestling has hit an inflation point because of like AEW and all these bigger promotions. Like if you see a company like WWE cutting the amount of superstars that they had and letting them kind of trickle down, right? And then the ones that were great went to the B show, and that's AEW, right? Like your Bryans and your Miros and your Punks and those guys, right? But then you have these guys coming down to like Impact. Like there's not enough space. Like more of these people are like gonna get cut and not have a job. Like it's gonna happen. Like it has to, because these companies aren't gonna be able to sustain like what like is gonna happen in the next like year or two. Brandon, you're an economy guy, you're a stocks guy. Like let's put it into like these groups like VBD, your Decays, your I don't know Moors, your Bullet Clubs even, right? Like they've lasted forever. They're gonna eventually like when they break up, what's Impact gonna do with all these people?
There are only so many spots, and eventually they're gonna have to disperse. And if there's not enough, demand and spots open, hopefully there's something to fall back on. Because unfortunately, there's not gonna be enough spots for everybody.
What do you think, Vet?
I mean, I don't know. There's always going to be somebody that needs somebody. I think people are going... Look, if you're working at Impact, you've already accepted that you're going to make a certain amount of money. You may just be taking bookings. You may not actually have a contract. I'm sure there's a few people they like to have signed, like a Josh Alexander or whatever, or a Moose, or
You're probably getting paid.
Yeah. Other people are like, hey, if we need you, you know what I mean? So they could say they work at Impact, but I don't know how many of them are on like actual contracts or if they're like on a pay by appearance. And, somebody else is going to be, but I do wonder the same thing. I mean, I think about, when I watch NWA, I'm like, how do they pay all these people? This looks like no one's...
Another promotion that you're going to probably the best of Impact will trickle into NWA, and then they'll cut their their glut and they'll go back to the indies to either work on their craft or go get real jobs.
Right. So I don't know. I would guess that a company like Impact, which is owned by Anthem, I think Anthem's only going to bring in the people that they can afford. So if they got all these people here, they can afford them as long as they feel like. I mean, we know they can afford them. It's like, do they want to? So I don't know. That's not really anything that's in my, that's not my specialty, working on the economics of wrestling. It's because we really just don't know anything about how this stuff works, really, like as far as not necessarily how it works, but how the decisions are made, because those decisions are made by individuals or even groups of individuals. Like, we know that WWE has cut a bunch of people citing budgetary reasons, and if the budgetary reasons is because you got to pay paralegals, then could you really not afford them? Now, granted, you didn't need them, but you didn't have to lie and say you couldn't afford them. You could have just said, we don't need them. We cut them because we don't need them. Like, if you're that's a cold take. But
Y'all.
yeah. But now we know, now things, like with information coming to light, you understand how these things work. It's like, I'd rather spend my money on this than on you. So that's kind of how all these companies have to think. But
That's
to answer
true.
your
What's
question,
next on the plate
I don't know.
there, sir?
Yeah. Deanna and Chelsea are on the plate. And they're with Gia and no music underneath. And they do their little generic, wrestling promo. And then they walk off into Gail Kim, who politely makes a match for next week. It's going to be Chell versus Mickey. And everyone's banned from ringside.
And for
And
some
guess
reason,
what? Guess what? Deanna, your match later tonight against Mia Yim, everyone's banned from ringside for that too. So no cat dancers, no Chell, no nothing. All right, go ahead.
and
Frank.
somehow that makes them upset. Why?
Because they want to cheat. She wanted, Chelsea wants Deanna to be there to help distract referees and cheat, and vice versa. So they don't like that.
I felt this one made him come across more wimpy than conniving.
They are, I mean,
Chicken
they're
shit.
always going to default to complaining heels, whatever happens. A heel's never supposed to be happy with anything, right? That's part of what makes you dislike them. Because in your mind, when you're watching at home, you're kind of like, oh my God, just suck it up, will you? Just wrestle a match on your own for once in your life. But, whether it's interesting or not, that's a different story. Colin, is this interesting? No. Colin says no. He's shaking his head no.
No,
Audio
it's not
listeners.
interesting. Sorry,
All right.
audio listeners. It is not interesting at all. That's why I didn't even answer, because I am so disinterested in
Well,
our main event tonight.
Well, let's see if you're interested in this. Laredo Kid versus Trey Miguel.
Why?
Yeah.
You see how he
Bar
does
versus New
this?
Day.
You see how he does this spray painting thing here, Vet? Ooh,
Well, he's
edge of my
as
seat.
he's as behind as he's ever been.
Yeah, it's worse.
This
I don't see how
was
you
terrible.
can regress. How have you regressed this poorly? The lights, the don't even get me started on the lights, Vet. Sorry, I didn't even mean to bring up the lights. But the lights
yeah.
just now we've got terrible spray painting. Like, work on this. If you want this to be your entrance, work on it. At least get them to make it perfect. Like, can't just keep going out there. Do you think the Undertaker, with his hooded men, do you think he would have like been upset if young Vet was stepping out of line in his hooded robes while the Taker was doing his WrestleMania entrance? No. He would have put up with that shit. And Trey Miguel should not put up with that shit either. Do better. You know what, Trey Miguel?
Get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together. Get your shit together.
Thank you.
All right. Well, and yes, Liz says this is the worst one ever. Now he's just trolling us. But see, I told you, it's war. It's war. It's war on Impact Attack. Like, they don't like how we've been doing things lately, because we said we don't like how they've been lighting things lately and other things, and we've been harsh. And now it's just a it's a game of chicken.
And he wore that Venom thing too.
Oh yeah. Does he deserve that? Spider Tray. As
was
a
going
big
by
Spider-Man
Venom Tray.
fan, I don't appreciate the representation of Spider-Man by you if you can't even have the coordination to time your entrance spray paint deal.
Spider Peter would.
Yeah,
I'm sure Eddie Brock would. I'm sure Miles would.
even Miles would. Especially Miles, because, you know. Anyway,
I
no
don't
upsets
know.
here in this. That was my thinly veiled racial joke. There was no, we love Miles. There's no upsets in this match. We know who's going to win when they announce the names. It's unless you're doing a storyline where, you know, Trey Miguel goes on a losing streak to people he shouldn't lose to. You're probably going to expect that he's going to win this match, and he does. So,
What if Trey Miguel goes on like the Kurt Hawkins losing streak and then beats Brian Myers for the .com title?
then that's going to be the worst thing he's probably done in his career. You always got to beware when they tell you you're going on a losing streak. I just heard, like, you know, the layout of the supposed layout of the creative for Becky and how they wanted it to be like this whole like long losing streak or things for her to like hit rock bottom and stuff. And you really got to be worried when people say that kind of shit to you, because especially at WWE, because in their mind, they want you to go on the losing streak and then they're going to change their plans about you getting your comeuppance at the end. And then you just have gone on a losing streak and got buried. So you
Like
really got to be
loses
careful.
every week.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh yeah, you know that thing we had planned, we're scrapping that and going with something else. So now you're just stuck with the losing streak. So be careful.
Seth wouldn't let that happen.
Or you know what? Lean into it. Like, get creative with it outside of what they want. Start showing up backstage like there's a bottle in a bag, being like, all right, who they got me working tonight? All right. And just...
Yeah. If you do something like that, though, Brandon, then they're going to think you're trying to get over and they'll just take you off TV.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. They had big plans for Jeff Hardy. Speaking of drunk, Ric Flair. We got a Ric Flair moment of the week. This is back in January 4th, 2010, when he arrived at the Impact Zone. And I thought this was pretty funny because they show him arriving, and then like it's Kurt Angle and AJ Styles are having a match in the ring, and Ric Flair just walks out the entrance and just stands up there and puts his hands on his hips and looks. And this is supposed to be like, this is a Ric Flair moment, you know? And then that's it. That's all that happened. So that's the end of the moment. He just walks out and stands on the top of the stage. There's no, you know, there's no run-in, no promo, no nothing. Just, hey, Ric Flair put his hands on his hips. Remember that from, 12 years ago? Anyways, back to the show. It's great. Love it. So next...
You know what that sound means, Bet?
Pardon me, that's a fact or fiction.
It's time for Fact or Fiction. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we've got Ric Flair's last match. And I recently saw where you can get...
Tonight?
Well, it's sometime. I don't know when it is.
It's on
I've had
it's on a
many sea
Tuesday night.
breezes. I've had too many sea breezes, much like the Flair man himself. But
Okay.
I noticed that Conrad is milking this last match for as much as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And for $3.99, you can be an action figure with Ric Flair. Like, you pose, they do the whole fact or fiction. It would be totally cool to be goated in an action figure with Ric Flair. Any pose you want. Any pose.
Fact? It's a very mild fact. If anything, it's more of an opinion, which I would know about. I just,
You are the opinion haver.
yeah, I don't. You want an action figure of yourself? Like, I understand if you're Matt Cardona, but most people ain't Matt Cardona.
Well, it's more of a statue, but it's for $399.
And can I just say, since we're talking about Impact and Matt Cardona, that his fucking figures suck. Why the hell would you... Those little bendies and stuff that he makes, that cost like... What do those things cost? Like $75 or something like that? Are you shitting me? For your
I
stupid
don't
little
get
toy?
the figure thing because like
It's not
there's-
even like a real figure. You know, like the posable ones. Like it's a bendy. It's a fucking
Oh,
bendy. It's a
yeah,
hunk of
yeah.
rubber. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. You know, for somebody that claims to be a figure aficionado, you should do a little bit better than that. But anyways,
Let me
A
find the
hunk of
picture.
burning crap.
You kind of see
um,
what it is.
well, anyway, what do you think, Brandon? Is it a fact or fiction to be? It's cool to be a figure with Ric Flair.
Idolized on a statue with Ric Flair.
And what does that mean too? Like, do
Only
you get
if, only if you're both holding the can of beer.
both getting a can of beer?
You got like a can. You got both got like a sea breeze. Like drinking sea breezes with Ric.
Can of beer sold separately. They'll put your hand in the pose, but they won't. Yeah, like what does that mean? Like a figure with Ric Flair? Does everybody get a 2-pack with them and Ric Flair in it?
I posted it in the HMG producer chat. I got it.
All right, well, this is boring. So let's talk
Yeah,
about
sorry.
something that's much more exciting. Violent by Design storms backstage, past Gia, past stupid color lights, to another area with stupid color lights. And then they see the Motor City machine guns, and then they beat up the Motor City machine guns in front of the unlit gray brick wall. So you lit a different area, and we get to see the gray brick wall area, and then there's a pull apart. Josh Alexander shows up, and then you can see the stupid lights in the background again. All right. So what did you think of this beside the lights? As Jerome with an N shows up. Hello, Jerome.
It was decent. At least it kept the story going. It's nice to see a follow up instead of just ending it at the ending something for the night, and led to a follow up later on for next week.
It's also the first of two scenes we're going to get where somebody's storming down a hallway. And the
Is that
camera
the
has
new
to
thing
follow.
now? We get storming down the hallway. So I found the picture here, Vet, right here. A 3D scanned custom figure of you and Ric Flair. So you here's Rick standing there, and then there's you, of course, standing beside Rick. But $399 starting at. So maybe they go up in price depending on what you want Rick to do in the pose. He'll do anything, ladies and gentlemen. You head into the booth with Rick, strike a pose for your 3D scan, and take a ride on Space Mountain while you're in the booth. Who knows?
Yeah, Rick, I want you to push me up against the side of the booth and helicopter me. Yeah, $3.99. I was thinking when you say $3.99, I was just thinking $3.99.
No, $399.
That seems a little steep for me. I think I changed my choice to a fiction.
It's so lifelike. He looks so old.
Looks just like him.
Your shit for the amount of people that are going to be doing this, bro. It's probably not going to look that good.
Probably not.
That'll cover weekend drinking.
All right. Now here's a fun one. We get a vignette, all right, and it's some chick and she's talking, and so already like I'm slightly disinterested, but then she's going to like this motel and talking about going to a motel and how like she enjoys the seediness of going to some motel, and then she like gets in the motel and like she starts taking her clothes off and she's taking a shower because she's already feels dirty that she's at this dirty motel, and she's taking a shower and she's trying to make these sexual what would the word be? They're not quite innuendos. It's just the whole thing overall is suggestive. The language is suggestive, but it's not clear what she's suggesting other than something, illicit. And then we find out it's Killer Kelly. So the only thing that we've seen Killer Kelly ever do is be like an MMA sort of fighter, in these other promotions. NXT, she was there. NXT UK and some other shit. She's probably been on AEW Dark a few times and everything. I don't know. There may be something there with Killer Kelly, but this weird motel slut aspect to it, like I didn't really understand how that fits with anything, let alone her character or a wrestling personality. So what did you guys make of this weird motel skit where the camera...
She's coming to Impact to sign a bunch of NDAs, Vet.
Right off the bat, huh? Just just gonna
That's the
start with
gimmick.
that.
That's the gimmick. She's gonna get
Okay.
Scott. She's gonna get Josh. She's gonna get Moose.
I have
Everybody.
no idea what to take from that.
She's going to Swinger's Dungeon.
Hey,
Yeah,
there
this
you go.
doesn't seem like it's played for laughs though.
No, it's not.
Look, if you saw it, it almost looks like a horror movie at first.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
it's just, instead, it's just, you know, hey, I'm in a motel getting ready to take a shower.
Which she's
Hey,
now,
cameraman, I'm taking off my clothes. Don't shoot up above my ankle, though. Just show my panties hitting the floor. But whatever you do, don't show above the ankle, and don't look at me yourself while you're holding the camera down there, you pervert. But other than that, yeah, film me naked getting ready to take a shower. What the fuck?
Apparently, she's had visa issues, which has been keeping her like she's been under employ of Impact for like over a year or so now, and it's just been issues with her getting out of Australia to come to America.
She's not worth the effort. No offense. I don't know why someone, again, when we're talking about companies have to make hard decisions on the talent they keep and the talent they don't. I'm like, why are you going to the lengths for somebody like this that has relatively no star presence in any of the, again, like if Killer Kelly came to me and said, hey, are you looking to hire? I'd be like, well, sure. But I'm not going to go out of my way and pay for somebody that can't get in the country and all this other stuff. So
When you had Lady Frost who could get in the country, and the fact that now you're having to get this person from Australia to the United States and into Canada, if necessary at times, right? So you could just use an American person or a Canadian person for that instead of having to do all these things.
I guess you could. But in any case, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm speaking out of school. I don't know anything about the situation. All I know is that they made a weird vignette. A weird, dirty, sexy vignette. All right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the production and quality value of it was pretty decent. It's just, what is it?
Yeah.
Did it get you hot and bothered?
Not really. Fiction. We can move on. All right. AMW with Gia and no music underneath. So I don't know how they were able to fit the entire interview backdrop and all three people into a tin can, but somehow they did it because for whatever reason, the audio quality on this was completely off. It's almost like they used
The camera mic instead of the actual mic, the boom mic.
yeah, there was something was clearly up with this.
My
and it
lavalier wasn't working.
sounded ugly. But then after the interview part, where they both say stuff, then James Storm peels off and he walks through another hallway. This hallway has normal lighting, by the way. And then he goes to Moose's room. You can tell it's Moose's dressing room because it has a big moose head on the outside of it. But inside, he finds Burt Macklin, and he's like, what are you doing here? And then they, do a weird roundabout thing where they challenge, James Storm challenges him to a match next week. So, that's that. Any thoughts on this?
James Storm, I feel like James Storm kind of came off a little heelish.
Maybe a little bit.
In his
but
thing a little bit there. Because I figured Bert's trying to be the heel, or they have him booked as the heel usually.
I
So
might
it's
have
kind of off the wall.
I might have missed something, but it sounded like there was something like they mentioned during that exchange where there's some kind of potential alliance between Moose and Macklin.
Well, yeah, because Macklin's the one that helped Moose win the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. And so he's just, the next time we see him now, he's just sitting there in Moose's dressing room, awkwardly, by himself, doing nothing.
I mean, at
until
least
James
it's,
Storm comes
I
in.
mean, it might be baby steps, but it's still at least progressive storytelling.
It's true.
Yeah, I just don't want Macklin anywhere near Moose, but whatever. It can't get any worse for him right now as long as he's going to be involved with Sami Callihan.
At least
But
he
that
went
does
over.
mean that there's another Mooseless episode that we had to watch here this week, and a Briscoe-less episode because they were taken out. So let's just get rid of the only two good things on the show.
Don't count.
Let's make it count then.
Let's make it count then.
They can't. They can't. So once again,
Hi.
You can
Science.
get your Briscoes fill here on the Impact Attack.
Forces of nature is what I'm talking about here, people. Science! Science!
Yeah. Everybody knows that Impact Wrestling minus Moose minus Briscoes don't count. It's science. So this is not what I'm about to talk about is not scientific. It's PCO versus Taurus, okay? Now
It's a zoological animal versus a Frankenstein's monster. That is pretty scientific. It's like
I was talking about in the ring. You know when he does
Scientific
that
fiction.
yes. It looked like when PCO did that apron senton that he does, that he landed right on Taurus's face. I hope it's just what it looked like and not what it actually was, but that's what it fucking looked like. And then the PCO salt at the end was all legs. So, you know, this is very
Definitely got hurt on that one.
Yeah,
You
that
saw
was
it
nasty.
in-
That was nasty.
very Lita.
But
Yeah.
that was some of his fault though, because you know the dude's like 80,000 years old, right? Why are you literally halfway across the ring? I did notice that. Taurus was like pretty far out for like PCO to be throwing this move, right? Like,
I don't know, but he's got to stop, man, because now the stuff that he does, he can't even do it anymore.
and
You
the
know what
guy
I
is
mean?
wearing a bull mask, so like for you to still crush his face with your legs.
Right. I'm sure the bull
Like, there's
mask is
some-
not armored or anything.
No, I know, but there's like prosthetic, like there's probably some protection, like. But,
I don't know.
But he
If
landed
anything, it looks like a
solid.
hindrance because it looks like it could move and you wouldn't be able to see for a second. And but seriously, like PCO has got he can't, if he can't do the things that he does anymore, he's got to stop it. He's just got to stop.
Got to get out of Honor no more, bro. No more. We can't have you.
All right. Well, that's less important, but
Get out of Honor no more.
yeah, Heath does a hit and run. I forgot who he actually attacked here. Maybe one of you guys remember, but he just
I think it
comes
was
and hits somebody
Taven.
and
Was it Taven?
Tall Ace Austin.
Him or Bennett.
Yeah, it was Taven or Bennett, because I was
Canon 11?
surprised by who got beat up. I was like, all right, that's not somebody that normally gets beaten up.
Yeah, what did he do? Did he just come and hit one move and?
Yeah, and then dipped out while they were looking at Black Taurus and Crazy Steve in the corner, because Crazy Steve was like trying to ward him off.
You're like,
He-
leave us
he-
alone. I'm crazy.
I got kids, and I'm gonna sneak in behind you.
Yep,
Get you
and
with a
then
clean
he
blade.
runs out into the crowd and they stand there and yell at each other.
Buckshot says Kenny.
King.
I would trust Buckshot Kid. But either way. Yeah, so there you go. And then next we get the Bullet Club with Gia, no music underneath, and what I like to call the Troll Hallway. Colin, can you put up a picture of this?
Oh, whoa. Oh, I put the picture up, but I put it under the other banner.
You gotta
so
pay the troll toll.
It didn't come up here. Yep, before you can get into this Impact's hole.
Look at that. Right in plain view, right there between Gia and Carl. Look at that piece of shit light on the
And then
floor.
the green right there behind.
And then there's
like
a green back there. Then there's a purple one off to the side. It's like, who thinks that this makes the scene? Again, it's clear that this is obviously now being done on purpose. But who really thinks that's cool? Does anybody think that's cool? 'Cause I know some of you guys, you probably listen to the show or watch the show, you hear us talk about it. But now you see that. That's not even necessarily the worst one. I just wanted to take a picture of that one. Does that do anything for anybody that saw that just now? Does that make you want to tune in to watch the show? Would that not make you feel like these guys are amateur if you were watching the show and you saw this?
It distracts from the scene.
Right. And you can't even hide the light now? Like you just leave it on the floor, like right there? Which we've already seen. We've seen that a bunch of times already, but I'm going to keep pointing it out like it's the first time every time.
You know, I hate to go back and bring
Peach
up
light.
old news, but I'm going
don't.
through and trying to find
Wait,
out who
oh shit, man.
who got pinned in that match. And I noticed we failed to mention this, which you might have bet, but I glossed over it. Trey Miguel beats Laredo Kid with a fucked up leg. So like he hobbled out to the ring and then like sold the leg as he was getting into the match. So he just destroys Laredo Kid with a hurt leg. Maybe that's why he couldn't do the thing right, because his leg was fucked up.
Oh yeah, they did the story throughout the match where he had basically competed with one leg.
Yeah. And he still beat Laredo Kid with one leg in an ass kicking contest.
So why is Laredo Kid even on the roster if he can't beat a guy with one leg?
That inflation, that glut, get him out of here.
They made a promise to Conan. That's why.
Get him out of here.
Yeah. So the next thing is Brian Myers walking backstage, and the only thing I want to mention about this is that there was more shitty lights. There's like red and blue lights. They just right conveniently where he stops walking, there's lighting like right there in this little weird corner that doesn't really do anything. So yeah, this is war. But anyway, he did talk to some people that you all like. So what do you think? You want to comment on Brian Myers, the most professional wrestler?
I don't know. Impact is hosting job fairs now.
Oh yes, they definitely are. Plenty of money for everyone. Plenty of room on the roster.
Which I think would be a great idea. You can start shooting some vignettes with Ziggy and Swinger. Have them going out to job fairs and trying to get people to come to the dungeon.
Oh, that would be great. I like how he backed him up. Back me up, Daddy.
Maybe they could go to that motel and see if
Killer Kelly
would like to.
Hey, there you go.
So Buckshot Kid is right. It was Kenny King. And they did the obvious, like, everybody was circled around Crazy Steve, and Kenny was, like, the only one in the back, and he was, like, hyping it up, like, yeah. And then Heath, like, comes in and takes him out.
Okay. Buckshot Kid also says that he thinks that Impact looks at streamers that use RGB lighting and thinks they look cool.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, it might look cool if you're a dude in your room or a chick in your room streaming a game or whatever, and you got some light back there. But it doesn't look good if you're in a professional wrestling company that's in a building and you're trying to seem big time and not like somebody trying to make a living out of their fucking room. It doesn't look cool. And now it's so bad that NXT does it too. Now, NXT's not going to leave that shit right on the floor like they did in that scene with Carl Anderson or whatever, but they definitely be using those lights now, and it's pretty bad. Yes.
But do you expect anything in regards to NXT? Do you expect anything less from the company that gave us not ironed, wrinkly background curtains for Matt Hardy the whole entire time he was doing the Broken Universe gimmicks in the WWE? Do you remember those terrible non-ironed? Yeah. You just take a steamer to it just for like 10 minutes to straighten it out, but no, it was like all like somebody just balled it up and then hung it. What's worse?
Don't forget to hang a picture on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's worse because obviously the more grandiose the production scale, the worse that it looks when you go to cheap solutions like that.
So the WWE with their giant $1 million budget couldn't even do that. So,
but here's the thing though. Like, Impact. Think about this. There was like you couldn't do you had instead of going to like an actual doctor's office or something or any kind of office that you could use for a scene like that. They just hung up a curtain wherever they were, which arguably could have been more work, right? All Impact has to do is not put lights on the floor. Like they have to do nothing. You see? They and the WWE are expending more effort to make things look bad. That's the issue here. Like just leave things alone and it'll still be better. But if they didn't put up that curtain wherever they were, then they were going to see that, hey, we're not in a doctor's office. So that's all the thing was supposed to do. Now, should they have ironed it? Yes, but you know, no doctor's office I've ever been to has a curtain for a wall. Although I haven't been to the doctor in a while, so maybe things changed.
Maybe that's why you're so hot. You should go. Yeah, you should probably go.
There. All right, as soon as we get off here, I'll go see a doctor. So yeah, Next is Shira versus Swan, and if you thought Alan Angels got jobbed,
Did we really think Shira was going to win the .com title?
I mean, could he have not just got beaten in 3 minutes, clean in the middle with the guy's finish?
No.
I mean, we could have done something else, right? But
It's another probably one of those guys that's going to get cut by the glut.
also, he's not the digital media champion, so that's not something you have to worry about.
That's right.
We just saw the digital media champion. Anyway, any thoughts on this, or do we just agree that Rich Swann probably shouldn't have gone over this easily?
They might be moving him up into the main event to do something with Alexander now that he's not with Mac anymore and got the belt off, or got that digital media belt off him. I mean, where else? What else are you gonna do with him?
Yeah, that's true. But Swan and Alexander's not exciting.
It's not, but what else are you gonna do with him at this point?
I don't know. Lots of things. What are you going
Let
to do
him
with
go
Shira
be with
now?
his-
Nothing.
Let him go be with his kid and Sue Young. Hey, take some time off, Rich. We're good. Go be with your
Nah,
family.
he needs that money. So the influence confronts Giselle about whatever. The walls are purple. That's my note. The walls are purple in this. Looks gross. I wasn't listening to the ladies. I was just looking at the wall. What'd they say?
Apparently, Tennille's now marked by Masha, and I totally had a blank. And Giselle mentioned that apparently she's been ducking Masha, so now Masha's going at people that are close to her now. And Influence is not too happy about that.
So Masha's going to take out the influence.
Because she already did it because that's kind of the idea with what happened with Alicia.
Okay. Well, why would she be ducking Masha if she never got the envelope of death?
That is a good question. Maybe there might be something we missed somewhere, or something they did not. They failed to explain. One of the two.
Perhaps BTI. She gave her an envelope.
That's
of
true.
death.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Tasha and Rosemary, more purple walls. Yeah, Rosemary wants to go to the undead realm. Tasha, or not? I put Tasha. I meant to put Taya. This is so sorry about that. Yeah, it's Taya and Rosemary. So yeah, Taya wants to come to the undead realm, and Rosemary says people die in the undead realm. I'm like, what? Anyway, I'm not going to argue too much the semantics of that. But anyway, she eventually agrees because they're partners. So
And the power of friendship.
yeah. So if you like the special effects of putting a purple light on the floor, wait till you see the undead realm next week, guys. Wait till you see what they do.
I think I see where this might be end up going is they might end up being like a three-way with Influence versus those two and Sue Young, with Havoc coming back and getting her comeuppance with Masha.
Ooh, I would like Sue Young coming back and being a part of Decay in that situation if they would do it. Sue Young would be fun, but I think she's got the baby, so
yeah.
she's probably not gonna be in any action here soon.
I mean, they could draw it out as long as they need to.
It's true.
Can they? Well, speaking of drawn out, our main event. Deanna Prazo versus Mia Yim. Anybody want to run this down?
Something like we mentioned earlier before. Is it a finisher if people are kicking out of it?
It's my notes. Finisher kickouts. That's my one note.
There's one finisher that didn't get kicked out of.
What's that?
The defeat. As Mia Yim goes over.
Yeah, I just I don't know, man. You can. Again, I'm not.
Yes, he is down there in the undead world having threesomes.
Yes. God. Yeah, I'm not 100% against the idea of kicking out of a finisher, but it's never going to happen in a situation like this. Not on my watch,
It's got to be like when it matters in a the right context of a story, like it's a build up, it's a blow off, you're at the climax, and it's an oh shit rare moment.
And it has to be main event talent. It can't just be talent in the main event. It's got to be main event talent doing it.
And main event story.
And even then, very extremely sparingly. You want to see this like not every year, but like every couple or 3 years. You know, you don't want to just do that. And they feel like, well, it's going to get a pop. That's what they're thinking. Like when they come up with this shit, they're like, well, it'll get a pop if, you know.
If I hit you with my finisher and then you hit me with your finisher.
Which it only gets a pop because you've established these moves as a finish. But if you de-establish the move before you actually get to be that quote unquote main event talent that I'm talking about, then people are going to be desensitized to everything else in your match. And then you're going to have finishes where it's going to be like, well, that's not believable. I saw you kick out of a finish, so why couldn't you kick out of this? Right? You see what I'm saying? Like, you set yourself up for looking worse down the road, because if the booker says you lose to a schoolboy and that's it, that's the finish, then you'll be like, but I kicked out of the Queen's Gambit. You know what I mean? Like, why would I get beat by a roll-up? I got dropped on my neck and I kicked out. I should be able to kick out of a roll-up. And he's like, well, that was then. No one will remember. And then you look bad. So, Colin has fallen asleep with his hand up. Colin,
Mr. Vet, Professor Vet. You know, a lot of people like to blame Triple H for all the false finishes and all the kickouts that we have in professional wrestling. But I've got the coldest take all year, y'all. I
already hate you, Colin.
I blame Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock.
Yeah.
Because those 3 WrestleManias that we had, it was the rock bottom finishes, and then Stone Cold, of course, kicks out and hits the stunner to win, right? Like, it's as great as those matches were, you're still like, come on, the rock bottom's like the ultimate finisher. The Stone Cold Stunner's the ultimate finisher. Like, if you were getting hit with those at any point in time in the Attitude Era, you were done for the night, right? Like, that's how they ended Raws. Stone Cold was coming out, kicking dudes in the stomachs and then stunning them. That was it. That would be the show. They'd go home to that. So I feel like we trashed Triple H because literally he kicked out of 17 finishers in every match during the Ruthless Aggression Era and towards the end of the Attitude Era. But I put my blame on Austin and The Rock for this, as much as it pains me to say this.
Yeah, I'm sure they had most of what to do with it, because most of the people wrestling today are going to be looking at those guys as the guys they grew up watching, and they're going to remember those main event matches and stuff, which they were main events, to my point earlier. However, did they do it a little bit too much? Yeah, sometimes multiple times in one match. I mean, the whole story of the WrestleMania 17 match was that Austin couldn't put The Rock away, and he was going to go as low as to side with Vince McMahon to get it done.
Michael's Taker.
Yeah,
right.
True.
Right. And that's where, you know, yeah, Javi blames Japanese wrestling in the 90s. He's probably talking about the All Japan Kings Road type stuff. But on the other hand, not as many people were seeing that. They were doing it, but I think more people were seeing The Rock and Austin do it and saying, hey, I think that's cool. I want to kick out of a finish.
I blame Starman.
You blame Starman and Corn Karn for kicking out of each other's finishers?
Yeah, fucking Starman.
All right. Yeah, so in general, it's a bad idea, but you can make it mean something. And in a case of like Michael's Taker, it's really good because the stakes are so high. You had somebody's either losing the career or they're losing that streak. So when you see that super kick or you see that tombstone, you're like, oh shit, it's over. You know, like it's over for this guy. Like it's over for Shawn Michaels. He's not coming back now because he's got tombstone and he's not kicking out and he has to retire. You know, that's the stakes of it. It's not the fucking Impact main event #1 contendership fucking match for a women's title of some fucking woman that talking about the kind of matches Chris Benoit has, and she hasn't even had one good match yet in her fucking career.
Yeah, stakes were not there for that.
No stakes. No bread, no water, no meat.
No meat, just kickouts.
So, with that, we end our Impact Wrestling review for that episode. And
We don't have a pay-per-view to talk about?
Oh my god! I think they mentioned one too. I didn't write it down, but it's one of those stupid ones.
It might be might just be a big house show. I'm not 100% sure.
Can we get the review show?
Don't worry, they're gonna film it.
We get a review show.
They're gonna film the house show and put it on the fucking Impact Plus.
Of course they will. And they'll have Chris Sabin go over everybody.
Yeah, why are they even? All Chris Sabin did here was get beat up in front of the uncolored wall.
With no guards. No guards, more guards.
No. Well, no, there were some guards.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit of guards. Go ahead and hit the drop anyway, since you said it.
Guards! More guards!
There you go.
All right, anything else that you guys want to talk about before we get on up out of here?
I think we pretty much covered it.
Bloodshot Kid says Emergence is August 12th. So 3 weeks.
That's the one. Emergence. And then we got a Derby City Rumble, I think. Maybe that's what you were talking about, Brandon.
Oh yeah, Derby City one. That's the one I saw. It's aptly named Emergence because we'll probably have Havoc or Su Yung emerge from the underworld.
And that's and Derby City Rumble is going to feature Rich Swann versus. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Are you two ready? Kushida.
Yeah, buddy, who makes his Impact debut. Seems like you and I, Kushida just likes to follow the shows that you and I tend to review. Vet, you know, he came.
I just came.
I think he was, yeah. Well, Vet did too when he saw Kushida on that fight card. He was there in NXT when we were doing Next Level, and now he's here. He's in the Impact Zone because Kushida.
What's Kushida doing in the Impact Zone?
He's pulling up in a DeLorean.
Yeah.
Kicking down doors.
This is his old buddy, Alex Shelley.
We all know he ain't going over Sabin for Shelly.
No.
That's right, Alexa.
Oh. It's Alexa's birthday next week.
I don't know how to say happy
Whoop,
birthday in Germany, but happy birthday in American.
America.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, there you go. Kushida.
Kushida.
Kushida coming to Louisville, Kentucky. I'm sure he's going to love it.
Is the other guy coming in Jacket Time? Is he going to be there?
No, he still has his job, so he's not going to be there.
He's not going to be at Jacket Time?
No.
She says we say it in English. Okay. Good. I want to screw that one up. Vet, let everybody know where they can find you.
You find me everywhere at Opinion Haver. That's Twitter. That's Instagram. That's Twitch. That's YouTube. That's just type it in and see what happens. Type Opinion Haver into Google and see what happens.
Or Grinder.
Yeah, see what happens. See what happens if you type that into Grinder. But yeah, so check that out. Have a little fun with the Google machine and see what Opinion Haver can do for you. But yeah,
if your opinion ever lasts for more than 4 hours, make sure you call a doctor. Right? Yeah. Okay. And Brandon, the Invisible Wall. Let us know what you got going on.
And as always, you can find me at all the places as well as Twitch at Miss Tia the Transarchist. It's over there just playing WoW and just chilling. Been kind of busy though this last couple weeks. Got some financial shit. I gotta get caught back up with, but we're almost there. It's not too much longer. Just got to put the work in.
You know, I thought the Invisible Wall was an old school Magic the Gathering card. It's a flying first strike, and it has a cumulative upkeep of 1 island.
But it's also a phenomenon in the wrestling business where it's like people, there's something blocking people from getting to each other. Like they're mad at each other, they want to get to each other, but there's just something in their way stopping them from getting to each other.
That's the
Guards! More guards!
that's usually the things that's keeping them from getting to it. It's not
Yes.
some invisible wall.
Don't worry, all the walls in Impact are highly visible. They're pink, they're purple,
Very well
they're
lit.
blue, they're
But
red.
but I've also noticed though this phenomenon only happens when there's people inside the ring and people outside the ring.
Ah, yes. It's very good.
Because Matthew Raywalt could have helped Deanna tonight because he was ringside. He chose not to.
He didn't want to lose his job. And in fairness, if you've ever hit the ropes, it feels like a wall. So, especially the cables.
True.
Very visible wall.
Yeah. So maybe that's what they're afraid of. Maybe they're afraid of running too fast towards the ropes and then not going through them and hitting them. Like, yeah, I'll just let them get away.
We're titillating the juices, yeah, pal.
It's true. It's true. All right, guys. Well, you can find me at Colin Wysong everywhere. Just type that in the Google machines, as well as Opinion Haver. You'll probably find shows with me and him together, doing them together. And
In a bag.
in a
Get all
bag.
your shows, put them in a bag,
Put 'em all
so
together.
they're together.
But there's one thing that
Get your shows together.
There's one thing that me and Vet have in common.
We have nothing in common.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Except for our love of Shredder's Revenge. And you can find me Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the beautiful and talented April Hunter for the A show, and on Wednesday, which we probably won't be there Wednesday because Ray's taking the week off. Ray had some issues. He's
Taking a
a
week
break.
off.
Yeah. He don't do
He
much.
can't sit and talk for 2 hours twice.
No.
Like that's literally
might
what
do
he's going to
next
be
level.
doing. He's going to be at home sitting, and he'll just be talking to his wife. What would be the difference if he put on a pair of
I know
headphones
it's-
and talked?
His son's birthday, so give the man a break.
Well, we know his son doesn't talk,
He deserves a week off. No, he does not.
so
okay.
that can't be the reason.
He talked on the Ridiculously Random podcast when we did top 5 video game characters, and we had Matthew Schaffer Gage on the show.
Oh yeah, who was everybody's number one?
Link was mine.
Zelda.
Link.
I love Princess Zelda. Link was your number one video game
Link
character.
was my number one. Yes.
What about Matt?
I don't remember what Matt's were, but me and Matt had Darth Revan, both at number 3
Okay,
from Knights of the Old Republic.
I know what it's from.
And then, so my top 5 real quick, Vet, I'll let you.
No one cares about your top 5. I just wanted to
let-
hear top ones, and you didn't remember
I'll let
everybody
you
else's.
poo-poo it.
so-
I'll let you poo-poo my list here. Number 5 was Solid Snake.
All right.
Number 4 was Master Chief.
What? Oh, come on, man.
Number 3 was Darth Revan.
All right.
Number 2, Yoshi. And number 1, Link. With the obvious one, none of us, I don't think, put Sonic or like Mario. Those are like 2 obvious ones that everybody's like hyped about, Sonic and Mario. I don't think any one of us had Sonic or Mario. in our
It's
list.
hard to argue with Mario or Sonic or even Link or or even Yoshi. I mean, depending on what your criteria for top video game character is, certainly if your criteria is mascots, those would all be excellent choices.
I think Matt's might have been Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, come on. You know what? He's disqualified from having an opinion.
No opinion having for you, MSG.
Yeah.
He's the opinion taker as well. At the opinion haver. Don't leave your dirty underwear on the counter overnight in the kitchen
Or ever.
or ever.
Emma,
Sure will.
Emma?
Ever. All right, guys. This has been another episode of Impact Attack on channelattitude.com and anywhere else that you listen to this. And we usually leave it up for like 24 hours so you can watch it on YouTube. So we'll see you guys next week for another wonderful edition of the impact attack. Yay! Say yay, everybody. Yay!
Whoop, whoop.